RotoGrinders, 5 o'clock on the East Coast, and then just 2 hours of nonstop NBA DFS conversation starting right now. It's a big boy slate, the in-season tournament going on, which means we're sandwiched by a 2-gamer yesterday and a 1-gamer tomorrow. We got to get 11 games here. The other teams are allowed to play as well for the very first time this year, at least as far as I'm concerned, as far as the show I've been on. We got Head Chopper. Chop is back talking some basketball. Thrilled to have you. We have Kirkwood as well. We'll talk to Kirkwood in a second. But yeah, Chop, welcome. I'm sure you've missed me. You know, I'm guessing the emails that I've sent you and all the DMs, I just kind of got lost to what you weren't intentionally ignoring me. But it's happy to talk once again. What's up, Chop?
What's up, Dean? Happy to be here.
Wow. We can hear it in your voice. It definitely you're definitely selling it there. Yeah, Chop, it's you're jumping right into the big pool for sure.
I think Chop needs to do a Ric Flair woo. I think that gets people going if you want to try it.
No, I'm not particularly interested in doing a Ric Flair woo.
All right, just a suggestion.
That's I don't know if you know the Tournament Takes podcast. That's one of the bits they do over there.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I listened to that one. Yeah, I should have got that on. My bad. Yeah, you're right.
I'm sure you listened to it, and I just wanted to make sure that that was the reference.
Yeah, of course I knew what they were talking about.
Kirkwood, 11 gamer. Not a lot of time to pussyfoot around, but we should give some pleasantries for sure. Say hello. And congratulations are in order for Kirkwood for the 17th week in a row. Kirkwood has won 500,000 crowns.
No, that was D. Did you look at it? That was 5 million crowns today.
Oh, it was 5 million.
Yes,
it's amazing.
Woo!
Congratulations! Are you going to go shopping in the store? You're gonna what are you doing? You're going to enter some big boy contests or what?
I can't even believe it at this point, so I don't even know. You know.
Yeah. What do you think the odds are of this happening again next time? Like this time next week, you're going to be tweeting that out to the people. Unlikely. It seems impossible.
It's like baccarat. It's like when you got a hot shoe going on Banker, you just keep pressing until the thing runs out. So I'm just going to keep going. Onward and upward until we fall.
We have an 11-game NBA slate tonight. It's weird, right? A lot of these teams haven't played in 4 or 5 days, and most teams have kind of healed up, so there's not a ton of value out there. What we're waiting for as far as the news on 11 gamer is pretty thin. We might get Anthony Simons to come back. We saw him make a cameo appearance earlier in the year before he got hurt. He's been gone for 17, 18 games or so. Jamal Murray is questionable. Anthony Edwards is questionable. I expect Edwards to play against San Antonio, but Mark Williams could be a big one to some degree. If for Charlotte, if he doesn't go, Charlotte's got a tight rotation as is. It could get even tighter. That Charlotte-Chicago game could be pretty interesting. But it's just not a lot of value on this slate on the whole. Of course, it's the associations. Things will happen out of nowhere, but I don't really see a lot that looks obvious. Oh, man, we're going to get some great value here. If Simons goes, I think he's an interesting value play. But the tricky part with him is how many minutes they're going to roll him out there for his first game. We shall see. But we're actually projecting around 30, which is a pretty big number. Portland obviously going nowhere, and Simons is a fantasy point per minute guy. So if he does play, I think he's a good play. One of the best point per dollar plays on this slate. But yeah, Kirkwood, are you seeing the same thing I'm saying? It's tough to make lineups today. There's not a lot to love. You're going to have a couple pieces in your team that aren't very good, and quote unquote value is not really out there. I'm not seeing a lot of it.
Well, but I feel reassured that I've got a show with my man Chop right now, who never lets me down in these situations, and he's on the expert plays today, and I see a big value play of his on there, so I'm just going to ride that today and build from there. So I'm excited for this slate. But yeah, it was hard until I saw that. These guys are going to play. Maybe Jordan Poole is probably the one that sits out. I don't know. I hate Jordan Poole with a passion. I think he's the worst player. Worst salary per player, would you say, in the NBA, Dean?
It's one of them. Is Davis Bertans still making $20 million a year? Because he's got a ridiculous contract. I think he's been traded around a couple of times. So I believe Washington signed him several years ago. But there's some bad ones. It's certainly a pretty bad one there for Poole. And it didn't take long for Washington to realize, oh, wait a second, we're turning into the Generals, right? They are just kind of a circus at this point, and Jordan Poole is a walking GIF. But that's just that's what Washington signed up for. They bought the ticket. They should have known this was coming. But yeah, Chop, are you excited about this slate? You excited to kind of dip your toes in, to do a little analysis here on air? I know you do some written content, obviously, but good to have you on air. The people are happy to see you in chat, I'm sure. Do hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications, do all those things to help us keep Chop coming back. Do you want to give the name of the player, Chop, that you mentioned? I have the expert survey pulled up. You want to kind of keep that in your back pocket for now, or you want to tell? What's that?
Are we talking about Dewey Reef?
Yes. Yeah.
He's LSU legend Dewey Reef, man. He's $200 on DraftKings. It's one of those things, dude. What you got?
I thought he was like was not aware of this guy's existence. I don't watch college basketball, and I thought he was like a kid. I think he was like 20, 21, 22. And he's like 27. So I think he's been playing in international ball or something like that. But yeah,
from Australia, I think.
I mean, Dean, the 27s are more mature and physically ready to go in the NBA. So that should help him, Dean.
Yeah, and the big deal is that DeAndre Ayton is doubtful. He's not expected to play, as well as Jeremy Grant. So both Ayton and Grant are out. They might get Simons back, but Simons, of course, is in the, he's in the backcourt, and they need some size here against Golden State. But they need a lot of things there, Portland. But yeah, he's going to get bumped up as far as his minutes the way we're projecting it. And I think, let me just kind of see as far as like RG value or as far as like point per dollar stuff. I think he was one of the top point per dollar plays. He is currently projected to be the top point per dollar play. 22 minutes is what we're giving him. Good stocks guy. He's capable of hitting threes. Pretty good boards guy as well. That like what I was looking at as far as his per 36 internationally. Again, I had to dig into this player because I was not aware of his existence. Anthony Simons, by the way, number 2. What also is interesting and kind of speaks to the quote-unquote value on the slate, Jaren Jackson, Triple J, no longer 19. He's almost 27, 25 probably these days. 8K, he's the third best point per dollar play. And that either means it's an incredible play or there's not a lot of value in the slate. And there really just is not a lot of value in the slate. And even more so, Joel Embiid is the 4th best point per dollar play in the slate, which is wild, as he's 11.6K. Again, speaking to the lack of like cheapies that sort of make stuff work. But you're going to have some uncomfortable stuff in your lineup. It's so wild, Chop. Is like Duop Reith, is he going to be on an 11-game slate the most popular play? It's crazy how NBA works sometimes. Currently projected for 56% ownership, which is just wild.
It's wild, Dean. It's wild stuff. All right. I mean, I don't know how it's going to play out, but that's crazy. I mean, that's all I can say about it. Dewey Reith. Mark that name down. It's one you'll never forget.
The Dewey thing, is that you're putting a spin on it, or that's how he's known? I don't know. I didn't watch I'm not aware of his existence.
What do you think? You think people are walking around all day calling him Doo-Wop? Everybody has this guy's called Kirky. I don't say, hey, Chris Kirkwood. I go, Kirky, what's up, man? You have no idea what we call you, Dean, when you're not around. But this guy likes to be referred to as Dewey, man. So I'm calling Dewey.
What do you call me when I'm not around?
That's for a different kind. You'd have to get into the secret chat to find out, Dean.
Well, nobody will let me in. I won't get an invite.
Chop, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh. I hope it's not Louisville, man.
No, it's not Louisville. I'm a man. I can take it. As long as people don't lie to me, then I'm fine with it. You know what I mean? Like some people lied about saying they put 10 units on it, and then like that.
Oh,
that's what bugs me. Like you tried.
Making a joke to the secret chat that nobody else gets.
Yeah, but the secret chat I've got. Like, do we want to throw out a couple of free holiday passes?
Oh,
or a couple
that would be an interesting idea.
A couple of trials, like see if the people can handle it.
How many likes are we at right now? How many likes are we at right now?
Noto wants to be. Noto has said he wants to try it out.
I've been on the waiting list for years.
Wants to try it out. Me personally, I think Bobby is a terrible fit for it. I love Bobby. It has nothing to do with him. It's them. You know what I mean? I think he's a bad fit personally, but I wouldn't mind, a observing if that was the case. But I don't know.
I think it's interesting. I think we need to, get some likes. If we get some likes in the show, maybe we'll invite Dean. If we get 1,000 likes in this hour, Dean will be invited for the holiday season.
Well, that's lower than the 2,000 that he used to request for the guaranteed homer. The guaranteed homer was 2,000.
Very doable.
Likes 1,000 is nothing.
I don't think 1,000 is happening, but I'm going to call my friends, text everybody I know, and we'll get at least 4 or 5 more additional, I suppose, and then we'll be on our way. I got to get in that secret chat, and I'll report back to the people. Okay. Anything we want to say as far as the slate chop on the whole before we dive into the old game by game deal?
Yeah. So you got to mention the guys like Dewey Reef. You got to mention them. You got to bring them up. I bring up some other guys in my written content because they're there and they're popping in optimals and all that good stuff. Truth of the matter is, I'm probably underweight on guys like that. I'd rather go with a more balanced build. So that's my big thing for this slate right now. When there's not much value, I'll probably rather be a lot more balanced and not mess around. I'll let 60% of the field, maybe play him, and I'll be way underweight on that, and I'll be a more balanced guy. So I think this is looks like a great balanced lineup slate, Dean.
Yeah, Kamara is another way you can go there on Portland. He's not been as good as far as fantasy points per minute, but he's another guy that should at least get some elevated minutes. Kirk, what you got anything, a big picture you want to focus on, or shall we just dive in?
No, let's just go game by game, figure it out with the people all along. I have obviously 50% Dewey Roth is should be mentioned at the front, and I have a lot of reservations about it, especially against Golden State, a team that can go small. All right, guys, we're almost there. We got 20 likes currently. We're almost at 1,000.
This just started.
Where's my Juggalo Nation at? Jugs, where you at?
Ooh, I didn't think we were bringing the Juggalos into it. I might have to back off that invitation now. That's gonna push the envelope when the Juggalos get here. I don't know.
I feel like this is a setup for failure. I feel like you don't actually want 1,000 likes. That's the sort of the vibe I'm getting, Chop.
Looky there, Dean. Look who's in chat. Look who's in. Butthole Jenkins is in chat. Our boy Butthole Jenkins. I mean, this reminds me, this makes me feel like I'm on a Monday night or a Thursday night pre-lock show, man. Butthole's in the chat. Dean, when are you ever going to come on the pre-lock show as a special guest?
I've never been invited, but I'm happy to. I'm happy. Well, no, I won't. I will not come on for New England and Pittsburgh. I refuse.
Oh, come on. That's when you got to get your hands dirty.
No, I'm not watching that game. You don't have to watch that game. I know you like football. You don't have to do it. Watch Netflix.
Chop, is that a tease? Is that a tease candidate? Pats plus 12, a 29-point total. And it's outside of the realm of Wong, but we make an exception for a 29-point total. It's kind of like Iowa.
When you get those low totals, you can tease it up, man. You almost can't lose. I don't want to say can't lose in sports betting, but you almost can't lose when you tease up those 29
played a 6-0 game last week. I hope
exactly why you take the big points with New England, Dean, because
big ticket Pickett is out too, and Najee's on the shelf as well potentially.
The number one receiver for New England has been ruled out as well. It's the whole thing is a complete disaster.
There's no number one receiver.
Well, the default number one.
There's never been a number one receiver in New England since Randy Moss.
It's not
Edelman.
good.
Maybe Edelman.
You know what, Chop? You know what you should do on Thursday night? We discovered this. Chop has never seen Die Hard. He's never seen Die Hard before. So that's what he should do. He should watch Die Hard on Thursday night.
You think that's a Christmas movie?
Yeah, of course.
No,
I can't wait to judge it.
Yeah, it's a Christmas. Yeah, sure. Why wouldn't it? I mean, we don't have time to get into it, but yeah, it's a. Why wouldn't it be? I don't understand.
You have it right up there with Elf and Home Alone and
as being a Christmas movie, as being the top Christmas movie.
As being a Christmas movie,
yeah. I mean, it's not as Christmassy as Elf. If you're gonna power rank how Christmassy is it, but it has Christmas elements. So yeah, it's a Christmas movie. There are references to Christmas. There's trees evident. I don't want to spoil anything for Chop. It's been 35 years, but I'm gonna respect the no spoilers rule and let Chop go in there cold. Very first game on the slate, it's Orlando. Orlando taking on Cleveland. 224 is the total. Orlando is nothing new there. Wendell Carter is still out. Fultz is still out. Isaac is questionable. Cleveland, they are without Karis LeVert. Dean Wade, I believe, is questionable. I don't think we had anything change there. Not one of the more appealing games on the slate as far as my angle here, but I do like some plays individually. I still don't know if I'm going to get to them. It's also a 7:00 game. 3 games at 7:00. I think it's 8 of the 11 start between 7 and 8, or lock, I should say. They're not going to start because the NBA, it's a big secret when the games actually start. They don't tell you that. Usually about 7, 8, 9 minutes after the lock. I'll throw this to you here, Kirkwood. Orlando and Cleveland. Most player getting the most ownership currently is Darius Garland at 15%. Donovan Mitchell is spectacular, but if I have one big spend in the slate, it's probably not Donovan Mitchell. He's getting about 10%. Mobley's getting 4%. That price has crept up almost 8K now, 7-9. On the whole, though, this game is basically I don't make a lot of lineups. I know you don't either. I'm probably not playing anybody here, not prioritizing. If I land on somebody, you absolutely need somebody at 9-1. Somehow I'm making a lineup and I have 9-1. Sure, I'll play Mitchell, but nothing I'm going on my way for. What say you?
Yeah, so I mean, it's just it's first of all, there's Orlando has been playing faster, so I guess that's a positive for them. But Cleveland still plays at a decently slow pace, below average, and both teams are in the top 8 for defense. And Orlando has been almost an elite defense this season, where they're ranked 3rd in defensive rating. Cleveland is 8th in defensive rating. So there's not a lot working for this game in general, especially on an 11-game slate. But these teams do play sloppy games. So on a site like Fanduel and Yahoo, there's a lot of blocks and steals to be had for each side. Cleveland is 23rd in opponent steals. Orlando is 24th. Orlando gives up a fair amount of blocks. So you could look at that some plays that way. And obviously, Donovan Mitchell is always capable of going off. Darius Garland is a fine play. Jared Allen is fine play, just for more of a salary base. And Orlando is just Orlando has a lot of different guys on different nights. So I don't really feel comfortable with anyone really in them tonight. Maybe Franz Wagner would be my favorite out of all of them, but it's probably a pass there. But if you want to get sneaky and play a couple on FanDuel, get some steal or block upside, I can see it.
He's like 8K now, Franz Wagner. It's really crept up on us. I know it's justified mostly, but yeah, it's hard for me to get there. Chop, what do you got? Anything to add? Do you feel differently, or is Orlando Cleveland kind of, I don't want to say a throwaway, but not one of the more appealing games this slate?
It doesn't seem like one of the more appealing games, Dean. Probably not a whole lot here I'm going to be having in my lineups tonight. I would say, number one, we glossed over a huge headline before the show. Congratulations to the Houston Astros for acquiring Dylan Coleman today. That's a big acquisition for the bullpen. It's money much better spent than Craig Kimbrell. And who would have thought Max Strus was this good when he was with Miami? I mean, yeah, we just thought he was a product of Miami. He's actually pretty good. So
you want to know how bad Alex Verdugo is? that the Red Sox said, please, Yankees, here, take him. That's how bad Alex Verdugo
is. You want to know how bad the Yankees are? They're plugging him in as their number 2 outfielder.
I know. Well, Juan Soto is supposedly on layaway, but yeah.
And some would say Verdugo will still be the second best outfielder in New York if that happens.
Over Soto?
That's what they say. They say Soto is nothing but a guy who draws a few walks nowadays, and that's about
it. Well, wrong.
And he's
a doubles merchant is what he's been called too.
They say he's gives up a lot of doubles in the outfield too, more than he actually is worth on offense. But I'm not saying that. There's people out there saying that.
Lefty Power plays pretty well in Yankee Stadium. I think Soto will do just fine if he happens to land in New York. So, yeah. Orlando, Cleveland, anything else here, Chop?
Nah, this is good, dude. We can move on.
The Grizz are in Detroit. 221 is the total. Detroit they're just a 2-point dog. I can't remember if it's 17 games or 18 games they've lost consecutively.
17.
It's 17. Congratulations to Detroit. Maybe it's 18 after tonight. They're only slight dogs though, right? If they're gonna steal a game, it could be this evening. Joe Harris is out. Who cares? Bagley is available. Whatever. Memphis we know is pretty beat up. We still have 7 or 8 more games until we get John Morant back. He has a 25-game suspension. Triple J looks really, really good. Memphis, by the way, we talk about them being a funnel to the outside, giving up a ton of threes, really solid defensively on the inside. I think Bogdanovich is kind of an interesting cheapie. I'm curious what you guys think. I did not like the note from the coach there in Detroit that said we might have played him too many minutes in his first game. They played him like 27 or 29. But I think there's a chance like he's just firing away. He can make 4 or 5 or 6 threes. That's kind of how he has to get there. But I'm looking for value. I'm looking for guys that I like at 5K, and Bogdanovich is sort of one of them. It's a little bit uncomfortable. He's probably not going to start, but I think that's okay. You tell me here, Kirkwood, as far as Memphis and Detroit. And also we mentioned before, Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. looks like one of the more popular big spends on this slate. Going to get a peek at the ownership. I think it's 26%, which is probably a little high for somebody with his volatility because he has those games where he just goes away. He gets those 3 quick fouls. I don't know if he's getting them here against Detroit, but typically he's one of those guys I don't like to get on when he's going to be popular, and he's going to be popular.
Yeah, and Detroit have some big bodies. That's one thing they do have is some big bodies, but I like them tonight. So, let's look at overall game environment. Obviously, Detroit has a horrendous defense, 24th in defensive rating. They give up a ton of blocks, a ton of steals. They're 26th in opponent blocks, 27th in opponent steals. They actually play at a fast pace. So Memphis is the side to load up on, although Memphis hasn't been so hot this season either. But their defense has been pretty well. They give up a ton from the 3-point line. I don't really so it would be like Bogdanovich would be a guy that would maybe potentially stand out, maybe Cade. But both Bogdanovich just coming back, getting his groove, and Cade is just, he'll chuck brick after brick. So I'm not in love with them as the bringbacks, but I do like Triple J. I do like Bane, yeah, always. It's kind of simple with them. I think we're getting to the end of the Derrick Rose train, but do we ride it one last time here?
Yeah, it's not just yet, but once Morant comes back, Rose
of times.
Rose is going to go to bed, and so do they just burn him out? I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
I guess, yeah, sure. If they have any thoughts of I guess they could still make a run at the playoffs when Morant comes back, but it's been a total disaster for them. Not just the Morant thing, but a variety of reasons, injuries as well. Chop, what do you have as far as Memphis and Detroit? Again, 26% on Triple J, 21% on Bogdanovich. So that's not even a sneaky play. We're giving him 27 minutes.
I feel like I'm the only one that caught what Kirk was saying there. I feel like I'm the only one that picked that up, man. Nobody else reacted. Oh, Derrick Rose and trains in the same sentence. Running trains. Good.
I don't know his backstory. I might have missed something. I have not.
I feel like I'm the only one that got it. I don't even think the chat got down. That was pretty slick, man. But so Bogdanovich, 20+%. He's definitely a fade candidate for me.
You're saying I shouldn't Google Derrick Rose train? Is that what you're saying?
It's your computer. I'm sure.
Whatever. God knows. I'm sure that's the least of what you Googled.
I'm sure your Google bar's been through a lot worse.
Actually,
buddy.
Let's get it on camera. Okay, will you show up? Will you show us the your last 10 searches?
Actually,
your last 10 searches.
It's an 11-game slate, Kirk. We don't have time for this. That's nonsense.
Okay,
if it was a 3-gamer,
I looked at the schedule. We're here for 2.5 hours, bro. We got plenty of time to do everything we need to do. All right. Derrick Rose, that doesn't do it for me. I actually thought Jaren Jackson's ownership would be a lot higher on DraftKings, where he's about $500 cheaper than Fanduel. It's still not that much of 11%. I can go with that upside right there. Bane, always with the upside like that one. The rest of it is not really jumping off to me. So that's kind of where I am. Jackson and or Bane, and I'm good with those two guys, and that's about it.
Triple J can always find himself in foul trouble, but just sort of worth noting, I guess, if you care about such things. NBA team opponent personal fouls per game. Detroit draws the second fewest fouls, 17.9 per game to be precise. So this should be a matchup where he stays out of foul trouble. In chat, they're talking about Vince Williams. He's been getting more minutes, but it's not even like he's not even like 4K. Like I get it. We're trying to find value plays. Anybody have a positive thought for Vince Williams? We're projecting 18 minutes for him. He might get a few more. The outside of the top couple guys there, it is pretty fluid when it comes to Memphis, depending on how well they're playing or poorly, I suppose. Sticking around for more minutes or getting your minutes cut. Is that something we've considered, Kirkwood? I can't do it at 4-2. I don't see how I get there.
No, I mean that's just the slate that we're handed, that we're even like thinking about him right now. There's so much variance in that, like, and it's probably a lot more negative. So no, and we don't know what they're gonna do. We don't know how, like, they may go 10. They usually like to go 10 guys deep, and they have more bodies for this game, so either 9 or 10.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the old game log, 9, 19, 26, 29 for Vince Williams, he's crept up in the last 4. But yeah, I don't think he's going to play that much. It's possible. It's possible though. So I guess if you're running a ton of lineups, I guess you can throw him in the pool. But I don't have a lot of confidence in that. We shall move on. Let's talk about Philadelphia. The Sixers are taking on the Wizards. 240 is the total. Pool was updated, not really, because it's just a game time decision. That is useless. That does not help us in any way. Philadelphia is an 11-point favorite here in Washington because the Wizards are terrible. Philadelphia also fully healthy. Everybody good to go. Poole is questionable. Is Shamet out? I think I just saw a note that Shamet was out. Okay. I don't know how much that matters, but I guess it's worth noting. Landry Shamet, maybe 20 minutes or so to be delegated around there for Washington. Chop. Embiid's going to absolutely smash. He's going to annihilate. He's going to pummel. He's going to thrash. Gafford on the inside is not going to subdue him in any possible way. It's just a salary thing. I would love to get Embiid. I assume you feel the same. He's awesome, but I don't know if I can get there. But in theory, sure, of course, yeah. I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to tell anybody they can't play him. How are you handling Philadelphia? And then Maxey looks good too, of course. But you got to pay for him. He's almost 10K these days. 9-4 on DK. The Sixers, Chop. What do we think?
Just the Sixers. The Sixers are Embiid and nothing else for me. Yeah, Embiid looks good, and I actually kind of prefer Embiid on FanDuel, where he'll be like 2% owned. I mean, he's okay on DraftKings, so I'm sure he'll make it to some rosters on a big slate though. But it's Embiid or bust for Philly for me. I'm not really into Maxey or Melton or Batum. Definitely not Batum or Harris or any of those guys. So I'm all about Embiid here. He's fine, and that's my Philly take, and I can move on after that.
Oubre is expected back as well.
Is he already expected back?
Yeah, he's expected to play tonight. So they're the fringe guys. Maxey, Melton, Harris, Embiid, and who the fifth guy was. Is it going to be Batum? Is it going to be Covington, Beverly, Oubre? It could be now. They're just chopping those minutes up even more. So and they're all priced up a little bit because there was a game where Embiid was out. I don't know how you get to any of those guys. Basically, is the point I'm making. It's really, really hard to tell yourself a story on the fifth, whatever that fifth player for Philadelphia is. You got anybody on Washington, Chop? Questionable.
Well, I would say
good. His role's been good at least.
Yeah, Shamet being out, I might have to go and readjust my rankings now because that is 20 minutes a night, and 6 to 8 field goals that leave the lineup. Somebody's gonna have to take that up. Maybe Denny Avila steps in a little bit. Huh? Denny Avila.
Who's that?
Denny Avila. Might have to, maybe it's Gallinari. Maybe it's Gallinari, Dean, even though
it's never Gallinari. They don't let him play more than 20 minutes.
Well, Shamet's out though. They gotta adjust.
But he can't move. He's like 97 years old, and they restrict his minutes. What's the most minutes he's played the entire season?
I could tell you, Dean, if you really want me to.
Yeah, I feel like Koulibaly might get a few extra minutes.
I think actually his last game was the most he played all year, 21 minutes last game. So they're ticking him up every game, Dean. He's going up. He's already up to 21 minutes. So now Shamet's out. It might be.
He's been good too. Like he's been pretty good considering, but it's just like
no. Philly's a pretty decent defense, right? He went in there and they were terrible under Doc Rivers. Nick Nurse got him playing some decent enough defense that I don't really need to mess around with the Washington side. But you're right. Gafford can every once in a while get there, but I mean, I don't typically like to take centers against Embiid either because he'll get him into foul trouble and stuff like that. So probably not much on the Washington side for me.
Trying to see if we have an if-then set up. We have Murray, we have Grant Williams, we have Mark Williams.
Who are you looking for?
I was looking to see if we had one for Poole. We don't have one for Poole.
Poole is probable now, so.
Okay, well, thank you. That works. I guess, I was thinking maybe Kispert could be a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, it would be either him or Koulibaly, potentially.
Yeah. Both sides this game, Kirkwood. I mean, I'm sure you like
Embiid, Kuzma. Embiid, probably one of the best plays on the slate, highest upside. If this game somehow stays close, he could just absolutely go bananas. And Kuz would be the other guy to bring it back with. There's really nothing. There's nothing else.
I wish he was a little bit cheaper, Kuzma. I feel like I'm saying that about a lot of players. Everybody seems like they're at the peak of their asking price on this slate. It just
that's why you all come over to Yahoo.
Maybe we will. But we got to take on Kid Yahoo. You dominate over there. It's my understanding.
Oh, you should have seen my NFL lineup. It was a thing of beauty. I played Chuba Hubbard. Like
that was the move.
Yeah, he smashed.
Was it like $12 or something?
Yeah, he was $12. I did it so I could get Reek. I could get Reek and CMC.
That was a good call on Tyreek. Against Washington. That was pretty. Nobody saw that.
Well, nobody played him. Nobody played him over there because he was $43.
I'm
he
sure.
was overpriced. He was overpriced, but like I played him because I had to again. But I also got lucky because everyone played Tank Dell and I didn't.
These are the ones you got to remember. Sometimes the injuries work out. You're not rooting for injuries, but sometimes it kind of all evens out in the end.
I root for injuries. Not long term injuries. Just minor injuries.
Not ACLs, but just like hamstring pulls.
I hate seeing really bad injuries, but like just out for the game and questionable for next game, and then on track to play for the next game. That's what I root for.
He's rooting for injuries. He's actively rooting for it. It's like, oh, don't get up. Take a big hit.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past me, and I can't say that I haven't done that before.
Oh my God. You got to have some class in DFS, Kirk. You got to win the right way. That's not winning the right way.
I said minor.
I root for ejections. Like, keep yapping with the ref.
That's fine. That'll work too.
My Miami Heat are taking on the Toronto Raptors. Bam Adebayo, he's not playing basketball tonight, so Miami will be vulnerable on the inside. He's certainly taking him out. It's a significant hit to Miami's defense. Haywood Highsmith also not available. We're projecting Orlando Robinson to actually draw the starts. Toronto is fully healthy. They're 4-point favorites here versus the Heat. Kirkwood, I'll let you start this one off. Little Kyle Lowry revenge game. 35% Jimmy Butler seems that's too high for me. That's just too high.
You know what I've been noticing in football? I got to be more cognizant of the revenge game. Like James Conner was like a play that totally went over my head.
What about MVS revenge? How'd that work out versus Green Bay?
Well, it should have been good but I mean, from an
it always should be good, but he dropped the ball.
If they didn't pass interfere on him, and then they didn't even call it, what a horrible no call that was.
It was pretty egregious. Yeah,
absolutely sickening, Dean. Sickening.
But everybody made the joke. It was not catchable because the ball was thrown.
Well, who made that joke? MVS. I saw it.
I think I saw Cards. I think Cards was the first one who made the joke.
Yeah, Cards,
and then everybody else. Yeah. Which it was right there. Yeah.
Which reminds me of the best tweet of all time from Head Chopper. Was the if people haven't seen it, you gotta ask him for it on Twitter again. It said bartender, or no, not Bart. It was walks into a barbershop, and it says, "What do you want for your haircut today?" And it's STL Cards. Give me the Mark Davis. Is that what it was? Mark Davis walks into the barber and it said, "What do you want today?" And he says, "Give me the STL Cards."
Kirkwood,
right? I know,
geez,
terrible.
Butcher this
I haven't
anymore?
seen it in years. Chop, deliver it.
Yeah,
you've already tanked it. He can't.
First of all, My apologies to STL Cards if he was offended by that 6 years ago. All right, I'm trying to grow up a little bit here. I'm
Be better,
matured.
Chop.
I've matured since then. But yes, there was a picture of Mark Davis on Twitter, and I just did a little caption as Mark Davis. If he were walking to a barbershop, give me the STL Cards, because the haircuts were very similar at the time. Now since then, Cards has really spiced it up a little bit. So good for him.
You might have
and Mark Davis, it looks the exact same, by the way. He looks the exact same.
Toronto taking on the Heat. I like Pascal a good bit if he's going to be like unowned, which is what I'm seeing. The Butler thing is a little bit too high for me, 35%. Like, I'm fine with Butler. Theoretically, he's going to get a lot more usage thrown his way. These two teams historically don't really want to pick on as far as pace, as far as matchup. But again, the Heat, especially on the inside, defensively get really hit with the absence of Bam. Pascal, I think, can drive and just will not be subdued very well by whatever the Heat's throwing at him. Chop, what do you got as far as the Heat versus Toronto? Orlando Robinson's looking like, assuming he draws the start, could be an interesting play at 4-5, center and center only, 14%. No guarantee he closes. We're giving him 28 minutes. There's some fragility to that one, but it's going to be mostly unowned. I mean, even like Jaime Jaquez is 6'4". Like, come on, man. I like Juan Wick too, but 6'4", that's an outrageous price. I just can't. I don't think I can get there. Everybody's like, what is the opposite of Black Friday, where everything's like 20% more? This is like hurricane prices. I'm having a hard time making lineups today. You tell me, Chop.
The opposite of Black Friday is probably Thanksgiving Thursday, because this is the day before this thing's going on sale. But technically, Dean, if you haven't noticed,
flowers on Valentine's Day.
Black Friday is all a myth. They don't really lower any prices, Dean. You're getting the same deal as you were before.
Did you see that where they take down they had the same price? Yeah,
Target, I believe.
Yeah.
Crazy. I mean, the highest owned guy from this game will be Caleb Martin. Typically, that doesn't work out, but he's just, he can be steady. There's not much upside. He's priced appropriately, if not overpriced on DraftKings. The rest of these guys are, Orlando Robinson, 5K. Can't play him on Fanduel because you're locking up a center spot. I don't want to do that with Orlando Robinson. And I don't want to play him on DraftKings because 5K now, that's not a bargain chip anymore. That's a pretty, hell, for a few hundred more, I can get Colin Sexton or something like that. Well, I'll take my chances elsewhere at that price tag. Yeah, there's not a lot to love in this game. I agree with you there. But Jaime Jaquez was a good draft pick, Dina. Props to the Heat for grabbing him. He's a Miami Heat type of player right there.
A buddy of mine who watches like every UCLA basketball game, and that's where he went. I don't watch any college basketball. When the Heat drafted him, he's like, yeah, this is the most Heat culture guy you could possibly draft. If he's going to fit right in, and it looks like he fits right in. The only thing not Heat culture about him is he actually was like kind of a high draft pick. Most of the Heat culture guys are like, undrafted or second rounders and, overachievers. But he looks like he's going to fit right in here for Miami. Kirkwood, Miami, Toronto, anything that you're excited about? I'm going to play some Pascal at 2%. That's what I'm going to get to. I don't know if I'm going to run it back.
Because you just,
I think he takes advantage of the interior defense.
Yeah, you say to yourself, Bam is out, so they're going to be weak at rim protection. And who's gonna benefit from that? So it's the guys who are going to attack the rim, and Pascal makes perfect sense. So I like that play a lot. Other than that, I don't really have a lot. I like Jimmy Butler. He's kind of expensive on DraftKings, cheaper on DK. I mean, cheaper on FanDuel and Yahoo, which also helps his skill set because he can rack up steals and defensive stats in a heartbeat. So I like him. Scotty Barnes turned it back on lately. It doesn't matter. He's capable of it. So you
really got to pay for it. He's fine. You really got to pay for it.
Yeah, those.
Is he putting up 50 plus?
He put up 58 against the Knicks.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
He can.
Pretty good.
He put up 56 last time against Miami.
We got a little PVT.
Player versus team.
Maybe we
I got Pascal over Barnes. I'm not going to say you can't play Barnes, but I prefer Pascal. He's a little bit cheaper as well. But
Dean, that's a pretty good call on your part. First of all, Dean, the last time Pascal Siakam played a team without a rim protector, he dropped 57 points. Every game since then has been a team with a rim protector. So that's a good call. And by the way, you want to talk about PVT? He hasn't dipped below 45 points against Miami in the last 7 or 8 games.
And Bam's played in most of those games.
Makes you think.
It was Indiana he lit up. In that pace he was driving in that game. I'm pretty sure he was awesome. Speaking of pace and games that might thrive, this next one, Brooklyn and Atlanta, 242.5, high and tight. Atlanta's a 4.5 point favorite. Last time these two teams played, it was like 195. No, it was like almost 300 points. It was a huge score. It was like 145, 147, something goofy. I believe they went to overtime. We also saw last game, this isn't against Brooklyn, we did see an overlap of Capello and Okongwu. They overlapped for about 10 minutes. Our projection team did account for that. I don't know if that's going to happen going forward. I think it was against Milwaukee. I'm curious if that's going to happen going forward, but something to keep an eye on. Typically, they give 48 minutes to distribute, and I think we're projecting 50 amongst the two. Last I saw,
well,
let's give it a
Jalen Johnson out sure helps that cause.
Yeah, that's a good point. A little bit thinner there as far as the bigs. Jalen Johnson is the big injury for Atlanta. Otherwise, I believe they're fully go. Brooklyn is without Lonnie Walker and without Ben Simmons. Simmons still they saw he got a shot the other day. He's gonna be out for a while, but that's been the case. Really interesting pieces in this game. I love Trae Young at 2% ownership. That seems, again, I understand he's expensive. Bridges at 2% ownership. Like I love the idea of like a little game stack here. I don't know how I'm going to pay for both those guys, but I do want to make a bit of a game stack. I guess I don't have to get both the big spends. Kirkwood, how do you feel about Brooklyn, Atlanta? I do like this game. I just wish there was an easier way to get like 2 and 2, which is it's kind of tough.
Yeah, I do love this game as well. There's not a lot of ownership, which is telling you how hard it is to play this game. But like from a game standpoint, this has everything. We got fast pace, bad defenses. The up and pace, obviously, for the Nets. The Hawks just run, which they always should have been doing. It's nice to see them do it. Both teams really bad at defending the 3-point line. Atlanta 24th in a point made threes. The Nets 26th. Atlanta gives up a bunch of defensive stats everywhere, pretty much. So Brooklyn probably gets the better matchup, but I do like the stack. Obviously, they don't have a guy like Trae that can just go absolutely nuclear. Mikal Bridges is probably the best overall play. Sadiq Bey is interesting because his price is still fine, and he's got that. He's benefiting from Jalen Johnson being out. It'll be interesting what they do with Cam Thomas. Is he going to start, you think, or are they going to need him for the second unit?
I'm trying to see if we currently have him projected to start. We got
Probably
Dinwiddie,
do.
Bridges, Johnson, DFS starting, and Claxton
Okay.
and Camp. But like they only have 11 guys, and like Harry Giles is still in the league. Harry Giles is one of them. Yeah, they're probably going to only run 9. They give Sharp some backup center minutes, but their rotation is going to be pretty tight. And you can still get Thomas closing, right? And as far as the other, Bridges 35, Dinwiddie 35, those are the 2 secure ones, and the rest of it's kind of fluid. Thomas is real at 7-1. Like he can put 30 points in the bucket. He kind of has to, but he doesn't do a heck of a lot else. But I like him. In my theoretical game stack. He's certainly somebody that I'm looking at. Claxton as well. Get yourself a double-double, some stocks as well. Good with Dinwiddie. I think Dinwiddie is a really good price on Fanduel. He's 7.9 on DK. Just want to confirm. I know Chop, you're all over. Yeah, he's 6.6 on Fanduel. He's like a cash game. I don't want to say lock, but he's like one of the first people we put in your cash game lineup, in my estimation. Chop, what do you think? Sounds like you're playing on Fanduel tonight. Are you on Dinwiddie at 6.6? That feels really good.
I'm not playing on FanDuel tonight, but that's a great price tag. That's why he's popping in the optimals over there. I kind of like hanging in the game stack in the mid range on this whole game right here. Like all of them, I could go Claxton, Johnson, Thomas for the Brooklyn side, Bogdanovich, Capella, and whoever else. I don't want to play Capella and Okonwu in the same lineup, but DeAndre Hunter is this is a type of game DeAndre Hunter actually could step up and be pretty good here at like no ownership at all. So I'm gonna be in the mid range here on this game stack, and I will definitely have a few of those. And if I get to Trae Young, I do, or Mikal Bridges, that's fine. But I'm not going out of my way for those guys, but I'll go out of my way for that entire, second tier of pricing in this game.
Bridges put up 45 on Atlanta last time you faced them. I'm pretty sure it was a big number. Played 44 minutes, 45 and 10, 16 of 31.
PVT everywhere, 44 minutes, and
DeAndre.
It was OT. But yeah.
DeAndre Hunter put up 47 on him in about 2 weeks ago. So
there you go. Well, if it happened before, it must happen again.
Dean, come on, man. We don't need all. You're besmirching you're besmirching Kid Yahoo. You're besmirching the PVT.
You besmirching.
You besmirching everything, Dean. This is terrible, man.
I want to. PVT.
I'm just. This is like initiation, Chop. You have not been on the show all season long, so
this
is how I
haven't. Last show I did with Dean, we all were wondering if Dean is the most famous Shavelson in the country.
We were all wondering.
And did Chad find anything? Did we find any other Shavelsons that are more
like? There's none. Like there's
more famous. There was 156 of them, is what.
But nobody knows who any of them are. It's inccomplete.
So you win. So you're the winner, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe there's like some proctologist.
You gotta be.
In Jersey.
There's no doubt. Like there's no. Shavelson, there's no other shade. There's no way. Yeah, he's got to be the most famous one ever.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Free secret chat entry to anyone that can come up with a more famous.
There you go.
Than Dean.
Ooh,
according to Rukin, there's a
movie producer. Oh, Rukin might be in the secret chat.
I gotta slide into this DMs of the Shavelson person and like say, hey, I was on 23andMe? Is that what it's called? Is that where you get your
don't do that, Dean. They steal your DNA and then they could plant stuff on you later on. Frame you for stuff later on.
I was just talking about.
That's a great plot for like a murder movie.
I just said why do we not have it's the perfect time for that movie where somebody gets framed for a murder by one of these from the DNA from one of these 23andMe sites.
Yeah, Dexter should have worked at 23andMe, not the police station there in Miami. We should move on. Let's talk about San Antonio, Minnesota. 230.5 is the total. Minnesota should thrash the Spurs here. They're a pretty big favorite here, 12, 13 points. Spurs are fully healthy. Vassal is available. Zach Collins is available. The T-Wolves, they're still without McDaniels and McLaughlin, not a big deal. But Edwards is questionable. He's got a hip. It seems likely that he's going to play. We'll see. He was practicing. But, I don't know how much they need him here versus San Antonio. But these, again, a lot of these players, a lot of these teams are well rested, have not played in 4 or 5 days or so. We are projecting Edwards in, and for that, nobody looks really good individually here. Minnesota versus San Antonio, despite the fact that it's a good matchup, they're all sort of priced up, and if they're all going to play and they're all going to share the court, they're going to share the usage. Nobody really shines above anybody else, at least from a median projection. Kirkwood. This game theoretically could be interesting because if San Antonio stays close, we could have like a 135, 137 kind of game, but it's tough. It's going to be ignored though. Where are you at as far as San Antonio, Minnesota?
It's a nationally televised game. It's a good game, and I think that the Spurs can hang. And I think Victor Wembanyama could go absolutely ham in this spot tonight. Now, so he would be now. Obviously, the Timberwolves have been playing really solid D, and they could shut him down. But I think this is going to be a fun game. So I would play some of it, and I would Wemby, maybe the Zohan, maybe a little of the Zohan. I don't know.
You're going to mess with the Zohan, Jeremy?
Maybe. I've been warned before not to. But.
Minnesota, yeah. Adam Sandler, maybe he'd let you know. Minnesota, best team defensively, like you said, and the third worst offensive team is the Spurs. So it could get ugly. But if they can keep up, is this ESPN? I assume it's ESPN, right? It's got to be Wednesday night. I'm imagining so. Oh, the Panthers are on TNT tonight, so it's not TNT. Yeah, Chop, what do you got? San Antonio, Minnesota. I don't
know, Dean. So first of all, Dean, I'd like to say what I got is I owe some guys an apology because you might not be the most famous Shavelson, Dean. There is Melville Shavelson. He was an American director, so we got that going for us. Don't forget about Paul Shavelson. He was a producer, and there's another guy, Jonathan Shavelson. He's on LinkedIn. He mops floors on LinkedIn or something like that. But he's there, so we got to acknowledge him. So yeah,
more popular than me. I didn't
might
pop
not
any
be.
floors.
And secondly, Dean, I'd also like to. Well, go ahead, Kirk. Chime in.
No. I was just going to ask if how many Shavelsons does Dean actually know? But go ahead. Sorry, I didn't.
Now it's getting personal.
Oh man, Dean, I think we also owe a big apology to the Minnesota Timberwolves front office because buffoons like you, or not buffoons, I apologize for that, Dean. I'm trying to grow up and not say that kind of stuff anymore. Stat heads like you like to. They were dogging Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert will never work together. That's so stupid. What are you guys doing? And looky here, Dean. Number 1 seed in the Western Conference, and it will hold up. Number 1 seed in the Western Conference.
Yeah, but wait for the playoffs, and you just can't pay a guy. You can't pay a guy like Rudy Gobert the money they have. He's old. He does not fit the 2023 model of this is what you want in NBA
defensive rating. First in defensive rating, first.
He's bounced back. I'll give him. He's been much better defensively this year, and that's kind of what they wanted. But he's old.
And he's in Kirk's Yahoo lineup tonight.
And
okay, yeah. But what about 3 years now? We're still paying $90 million.
Dean, I hate to tell you this, Dean. He's evolving. He has more 3-pointers this year than Ben Simmons. That's for sure.
Well, does he have one? How many does he have?
Go look it up. He is becoming a proficient 3-point shooter. So
one for one.
He's evolving, and you guys aren't giving him credit. But this is an interesting game because the Spurs are so bad. They'll probably give up a whole bunch to this team. So Rudy Gobert will probably absolutely annihilate.
He's 0 for 0. How's that proficient?
Will probably annihilate Wembanyama. So I think they're all in play.
You think so? You think he'll annihilate him?
Yeah, oh man, yeah, he loves.
It's French.
Yeah,
it's the French
thing going on, and Wembanyama.
Yeah, but I think Wemby could. I want to see him poster Gobert tonight.
He was a big fan of him growing up.
I think Gobert will have his number because Gobert is a little bit more mature. We talked about maturity earlier. Yeah, I mean 29-year-old Gobert is a lot better than Wembanyama right now.
Some say mature, some say over the hill. I don't know. That's what some say.
What do you prefer? Dean, you prefer them mature, or you prefer the Jaren Jacksons of the world, the 19-year-olds? You prefer them mature or 19? Dean? We're talking about NBA players here, man. We're not talking about anything else.
Talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, once upon a time, I was a big fan of Triple J when he was 19. I still like him for sure. I don't know where Janet Jackson joined the conversation.
I said Janet Jackson.
Jaren
Jackson, sir.
You did say Jaren Jackson. Okay, I thought you said Janet Jackson. What? All right.
That's the way love goes.
This is that's your go-to Janet Jackson song?
It's the best song.
We're gonna get copyright restrictions if you keep singing that.
That's the way. It's a great song. It's a great song. Devin likes it. I'm sure Devin likes it.
Nah, Devin likes his indie stuff, and that's it.
I'm sure he likes some R&B, some really good R&B. I'm sure if not, he will.
I do. I like some good R&B. I don't know if I'm a Janet Jackson fan, but
No, that one song.
I don't know if I could quite place it based on your impersonation there. But
that's the way. For the people who couldn't understand what I'm saying, that's the way love goes. Yeah. He knew.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. What did she perform at the Super Bowl halftime when Timberlake came in and ripped her vest off accidentally? Super Bowl halftime.
What was the song?
I thought it was a Timberlake song, was it not? I don't recall.
Oh, was it?
I don't remember what song they were singing.
Oh, you're right. It might have been a Timberlake song. Yeah, getting all crazy with it. That was good.
Chop's more of a Miss You Much guy. I think is more up Chop's alley. Let's the chat's gonna.
How's that go? How's that go, Dean?
I'm not gonna sing it because I'm aware of the copyright restrictions.
With Nasty, what's that song? Like Nasty or something?
Nasty Boys. Yeah. What is that? I think it's Janet.
They played that back at the club back in the day, Chop.
Rhythm Nation at the club was banging.
Oh yeah.
We gotta move on. Have you guys? Have I mentioned it's an 11-game slate? You guys, we talked about that, right? It's
We're the
11
appetizer. We're the appetizer.
We are the
Crunch time
appetizer.
coming on.
You got Kevin Roth. You got Keith Eyster. You have Taylor as well, taking you home, jumping in around 6:15, 6:20. Any questions in the chat, by all means, fire them off. I'll do my best to get to them. But if we don't get to them, we'll save them for crunch time. After San Antonio and Minnesota, we got Charlotte and Chicago. 220.5 is the total. Chicago is a 5-point favorite here. The Bulls are a disaster. Levine is out. They're trying to trade him with his foot. Torrey Craig is questionable. He's got a knee. Caruso expected to play, but for who knows how long, that guy is constantly just going to the locker room. He's just permanently injured. Charlotte, this is pretty important, I think. Mark Williams is a back. He's questionable. We know LaMelo Ball is out too. If Williams doesn't go, we're going to get either Richards or Washington jumping in the starting lineup, and they both have really appealing prices. And if we don't have Williams playing, those guys are going to skyrocket. Both will get bumps, but I'm curious what you think, Kirkwood. This is something I'm waiting for. I think it's an important piece of information if Williams does not play tonight. By the way, Edwards officially ruled in for Minnesota. But yeah, Charlotte versus Chicago. Chicago, a 3-point funnel as well. Just a bad team overall, just all together. Big old mess. They're trying to trade Levine, apparently. Worst kept secret. Another secret, apparently, was that Zion wants to go to the Bulls. I don't know if you guys saw that video. Zion talking to somebody from Chicago. It's like, yeah, don't say that out loud, basically. Somebody working for Chicago was saying, like, yeah, you're coming here? I'm like, we'll see. Stay tuned on that. Not to derail the show, but yeah, Kirkwood, Hornets, Bulls. This could get really, really interesting if we lose Mark Williams.
Yeah. So what are you thinking? Are you thinking PJ Washington? Are you thinking Nick Richards?
Both are really interesting, but I think Washington's the one I'm first interested in. But we're desperate for cheapies, and Richards is 3.7. So
yeah. I think they're obvious. I would feel more comfortable with them instead of Chops Boy. I forgot.
Gallinari.
No, yeah, Gallinari. You besmirching Chop a lot on this show, you know. But anyways, this is a great game environment. I mean, obviously, like Charlotte, dead last. Been playing a little slower, obviously, without LaMelo, but 30th defensive rating. The Bulls defense is bad, 22nd. Bulls pace. So there's pace problem, but both teams are off. My kid sounds like he's dying, but he's fine. He's happy. Both teams don't defend the 3-point line very well at all. So, and there could be some value. There is value, obviously, with Levine out. DeRozan is just a really good play. Vooch could absolutely, could play really, have a huge advantage if Mark Williams is out over anyone they throw at him, whether it be PJ or Nick Richards. Kobe White is interesting. Terry Rozier has like an incredibly credible role. I like Rozier a lot tonight in this spot. And Brandon Miller. I'm high on Brandon Miller, been high on Brandon Miller all season. I think he's good. But it's interesting. So I was listening to another pod today, and they were talking about how Clifford said to the media how undisciplined his team is and ripped his whole team in a presser. So it'll be interesting to see how they come out and look tonight. I bet you nothing changes, but
they're going to be bad. They're always bad. But that doesn't mean we can't play him. By the way, we have an if-then set up for this. If Williams is out, Richards would skyrocket as far as DK and Fanduel value. His projection would be about 27, 28 points. And that's in a 25-minute projection, which is like not a crazy number. Rozier is a positive play at 42 DK points. Washington, 31 to 31 to DK Fanduel points would also be a positive value. You mentioned Miller, playable, Ridges playable, but their rotation will be really, really tight. Basically, it'll be 6 guys: Richards, Rozier, Washington, Bridges, Miller, Hayward. We are given Thor 16, Ish 11, and McGowan 16, but it would essentially be those 6 players. So I think Charlotte is certainly – this is another reason if we don't have that news, maybe if you're looking for tiebreakers, do not lock somebody up at 7 o'clock. If this stuff can fall later, it's not guaranteed, but certainly it could happen. Chop, what do you got?
Double D is popping in the optimals. I think he's a fine play, in this matchup right here. He's part of that mid-tier pricing, what is it, balanced lineup I really like. So we got that going for us. You mentioned Rozier, some of these other guys. If Mark Williams is out, then yes, Nick Richards overtakes Dewey Reed as the best value play on the slate, and it's really not even close, to be honest with you, between those two, if that were to happen. So keep your eyes on that one, and I'll try to change the tag if that happens, but I can't guarantee anything because we're coming up against it here. But like Kirk said, also Brandon Miller's an exciting young player. The whole 3-and-D thing, he's fine. So PJ Washington. Did you
like him from out of college? Oh, you're a college guy.
Man, I loved him at the start of it. Then everybody, right around draft, they started saying, well, maybe he's not that good. I kind of bought into it a little bit, but when he first, like the first couple months he was at Alabama, I was like, damn, this dude will be a great consolation if we don't get Wembanyama. As a Rockets fan, I was thinking that. And then all of a sudden people had him dropping out of the top 3, and I was like, oh, man, do they know something? But no, I liked him for a long time. I still think like he fits the prototype, man, of today's NBA. So, yeah, I like him. And so, PJ Washington has delivered big games in the past. If Mark Williams is out, he's delivered big games with Mark Williams. So I think it's an interesting game from that standpoint.
Hey, did your Rockets draft the wrong Thompson brother?
No, Dean. They profiled much differently, but both of them profiled very well coming out of elite IG or wherever they played last year. They're just two different players. Eyster is like an all-around kind of guy. Amin's a point guard. He's a 6'7" point guard. He's battled with ankle injuries since the summer league, so you haven't really seen what he can do, but it's just different. He can ball handle and distribute, run the fast break really well, and he's getting his three-point shot down. They're just going to be different, but Amin's got a chance to be a star.
They played like 15 minutes from me. I had no idea. They Pinecrest, which is in Fort Lauderdale. But all right, let's get back on track as far as the slate. 4 more games to knock out to touch on before we yield to crunch time. OKC takes on the aforementioned Chops Houston Rockets. 226 is a total. Rockets are 2-point dogs here. As far as who's in and who's out, OKC fully healthy. Houston, Tari Eason questionable. He had the fish. He's not feeling so great, so we don't know if he's going to be available. Amin Thompson, obviously, I guess we haven't seen him all season. I don't think we have. Chop, I'll go to you first here. Your Rockets, I like watching them play. I like your team. At least I'm a Şengün. I love Şengün. FDV is really solid. Green, I don't know. I'm not sure I think this is kind of it. We'll see if he takes another step in advancing and getting more efficient and that kind of stuff. He's got a ton of talent, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like he can ever fully harness it. But yeah, Rockets versus the Thunder, SGA and company. What do you got?
It's just a good all around game. SGA is a real he's a superstar, man, but he's priced up there, so I don't know how much you can go with SGA tonight with some of these other big high dollar guys on the board. And Houston's not a terrible defensive team anymore, so it's not like a freebie walk all over them. I love Chet. Huh?
Top 5. They're top 5 now defensively.
Yeah. And I love Chet Holmgren's game. Man, I like his game, dude. He's fantasy friendly for sure. So I think it could be a real battle there between Şengün and Holmgren. Floor spacing between them, good passing from Şengün. I think they could go at it. I think it makes for a little. I'd probably game stack this thing and hope it goes off somehow rather than just try to one-off some pieces at these price tags. But Van Vliet's popping with, he's just been a steady, solid player since that first month of the season. He's kind of settled into the system. It's been really good. So that's the one. But other than that, I'm probably just kind of game stacking this thing.
Houston plays really slow and they play really good defense. It's a tough matchup. I love SGA, but I'm just not prioritizing. If he gets there, so be it. I think he's amazing, but I'm going to check back another night. Kirkwood, anything you want to add as far as, this conversation, or you basically feel the same way? If you feel differently, by all means, share it. Otherwise, we can just move on. Is there anybody you're prioritizing here?
I think Jabari massive minutes ceiling in this game, especially if with like Tari Eason potentially going to be out and Landale out. I think, he'll play a lot with Şengün. I just want to say it's Bush League, what Coach did to LeBron, and I'm glad that they ejected him. I just wanted to get that on record.
Yeah, I'm on board with you on that one. Like, there's a healthy conversation you can have, a little back and forth banter, but yeah, I saw that clip too, and it's like,
Yeah, it's like he's trying to be like
Fake tough guy.
Yeah, like the Angel Hernandez.
Angel Hernandez.
Yeah, trying to be the tough guy and ejecting.
Yeah, and it's not LeBron can't do anything. He's not going to go after the coach. Like what just okay. You want to sit there and call the guy's names? Greatest player of all time. Like how dare you?
Baiting. Like what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Like he's starting a fight with LeBron. Like know your role. Like you know what I mean. You're lucky to have a coaching job after what you did to the Celtics front office. You know.
Utah, Dallas, 233.5 is the total. Dallas is an 11-point favorite here. Questionable. Kyrie earlier today, he's going to be in. Grant Williams officially questionable with his knee. Tim Hardaway, I believe he is available. He didn't play with his back last time. Utah in full tank mode, I believe. They're a year too late, by the way. They tried way too hard last year for too long and kind of screwed themselves. But this year, no Clarkson, no Markkanen, no Kelly O. Nobody really plays more than 30 minutes for Utah either. It's just kind of annoying. They're not giving Kessler enough minutes as far as I can tell. I know Colin Sexton is like hitting some optimal stuff, which to me is really uncomfortable. At least it was. Chop, you mentioned him earlier in the show, and it's like that's what we're looking at earlier in the day, and that to me feels really fragile. But yeah, Utah versus Dallas, great matchup for Dallas. Luka, did you guys watch Luka lead a comeback? They had a 30-0 run, and they still lost the game, which has to be the biggest run ever in the NBA and still losing a game. It has to be. I haven't checked the stats. Fire up stat news.
I think I bet on the other side. I think I was on the other side. Who was it? Yeah,
so Dallas went on a 30-0 run against, I believe it was against OKC. Luka had 95 fantasy points. I did hit the triple-double. I don't know if Roth is out there, but Roth is likes to bet the triple-double. He was playing without Kyrie. It was his first game back after the baby. And he put up a triple-double and then some. It's full Smash City. And it was on the verge of just a full blowout. Like they almost just took everybody out, and then they said, "Oh, let's just go to this 30-0 run." But that was a fun game.
And Kyrie was as bad as you could be when he had the best spot ever the game before or whatever it was.
I think he was hurt or sick, but he was terrible. You're right. He was horrendous.
Awful.
Dean Wade officially available, and he'll play off the bench. Melton, in case you were curious, Melton's going to play as well. He had that illness, but I think we kind of knew that earlier. Kirk, what do you like this game?
This is where you win tournaments tonight. I think. I just don't know who's going to score for Utah. Sexton probably.
Maybe. Okay.
Like who else? Keontae George maybe, but he's
not a great scorer, but he can.
Yeah, he's
more of a distributor.
He can shoot three. Kessler could be good, but you know what I mean, like
threes. But that's all he can do. He's limited.
I mean, the Dallas defense is bad, and it wouldn't shock me at all if Utah hangs it. Maybe John Collins.
Maybe, but he's 7-2.
Yeah.
What does he have to do at 7-2 to make it that's the guy I want in my lineup?
Somebody's going to go off again in this lineup. They have all of their scorers are out,
or they all play 28 minutes and nobody goes off.
I don't know. I think there's going to be some gems in this game. I just don't know what it is.
Okay.
Chris Dunn is going to be out there on the floor guarding Luka probably a long time, but probably be in foul trouble.
Chris Dunn?
Yeah.
We don't have him projected to play any minutes, Chris Dunn.
Well, you got to update it.
Well, I think he's on the team and wearing a uniform, but I don't think we're expecting him to play.
Everyone's out, right? Clarkson's out, right?
Yeah. There's nothing new. This is not a new situation.
I will bet that Chris Dunn plays significant minutes tonight.
Oh, I think that's a bad bet. I'm pretty sure it's a bad bet.
I would project Chris Dunn to see the floor. I think that might be an oversight on the RG team. We might have to slack them. That might be an oversight, man.
See the floor, but significant minutes. That's two different
things.
Well,
we've got him projected. You just said we have him projected for 0, which we do. That's correct. That's a misstep.
He might play 10 minutes.
He's going to play more than 10.
The last time they were in a situation even remotely like this, he played almost 20 minutes.
And he's going to be the natural player to throw at Luka.
All right. Well, I don't know if Keith is doing projections, but I know Keith is on the projections team. There's many people on the projections teams that are probably working on it.
He's coming
He'll be
up
jumping
next,
on in 5
Dean.
minutes.
Yeah,
You feel free to.
We can talk about Eysters, Fleisters, and then see what's up with this projection here, man.
It probably isn't his call, and it might just be an oversight. But the other point is the main point is: are you actually playing 3-8 Chris Dunn? Like he's known for playing some defense and. Okay.
Get it.
Get it. If there was no other value that broke tonight, and all we're sitting on is Dewey Reith, I could see it. You just you put a good lineup together, and then you just cycle through a bunch of guys at 3-8 and 3-7 and see if one of them hits, and that's all you need. But yeah, I'm with Kirk on this one. Somebody will jump off. My preference here is a jump shooter, probably from Utah. That's why I kind of like Colin Sexton a little bit here.
Yeah, that's my natural number one is Sexton.
I don't want to go at the rim in this game. I probably want a jump shooter, so Sexton pops to me. But it's all good.
I was thinking of just betting Dallas, but like Dallas is kind of a shaky team. But I don't have any confidence in this Utah side.
Put them in a Wong, Dean. Put them in a Wong teaser.
Do you know the Wongs are? That's not for basketball, is it? I don't think that's only football, correct? Or can it be applied to basketball?
You can do whatever you want with teasers these days, Dean.
Well, I mean, you could, but it wouldn't be. You could just name it a Wong, even though it's not.
Yeah, sure. Well, okay. Name it a dong.
I mean, you guys should see
baseball.
Devin. You guys should have the Devin cam on in the corner. Like he's got.
I don't have Devin cam.
Half the show, he's got a cat wrapped around his head with a tail like sticking off.
It's feeding time, man. They're getting feisty.
Then the dog comes in. The dog's coming in, licking his face.
You want to come up? Do you want to be on the camera?
I don't have access to Secret Chat. I don't have access to Devin Cam. I don't have access to anything. I don't have.
You can't see Devin right there.
Now I do, but he pulled it up before it wasn't on. I didn't see it before.
Yeah, I got the cat walking around the lap, dog jumping in my lap. It's feeding time here. I'm waiting for my wife to get home so she can feed them.
We have 2 more games. I know whatever we don't say, crunch time is going to clean up. But Portland Golden State 225.5 is a total. We kind of talked about this a couple times. The potential value we're projecting Duop Reith to draw the start. Ayton is hurt. Grant is hurt. Golden State, massive favorites here. Portland is horrendous. We may get Anthony Simons back. He's a fantasy point per minute player, and he's not really priced that way. His minutes could be fragile, but I think we gave him about 30. And if he plays 30 minutes, I feel pretty good. We're giving him 31, which, hey, I'm not on the projections team, but that seems a little optimistic. I don't know. We'll have Keith and everybody else jump on it in crunch time and talk about that. Last time I was wrong, so I'll take my L on the Brogdon minutes. I thought there's no way they play him 35, 36. And of course not. They play him 38. Because why not?
There's no way they play Chris Dunn tonight. There's no way.
I didn't say that. I said I don't think they're going to play him meaningful minutes, but we'll see.
You literally just said it, Dean.
Yeah, exactly. Let's rewind the tape before he pivoted, and
I said that he's not projected to play minutes. I do not expect him to play meaningful minutes.
You said, wait, he's not going to see the floor, is what you said. I think that's how you started it.
No. I mean, they're all going to see the floor. Like the guy in the third row is going to see the floor, but is he actually going to be able to get on the court to play meaningful minutes? I don't think so. Kirkwood, quickly. Portland, Golden State. Are we still on whatever nonsense value Portland's giving us? We don't know if Simons is playing or not. I think he does. I'm thinking he plays. He practiced. It's tricky because it's 10 o'clock, right? And we have to have a contingency plan. And I'm going to be on the show. I'm going to be doing the Pick Six show when this news might come in. So I'm not great at multitasking. I'm kind of concerned. I don't know how I'm going to handle this, but we'll figure it out. That's just about me. That's just a Dean problem. What about Kirkwood and everybody else? How are you handling Portland?
Wait and see. But I don't love anyone in here. I think Simons will play. They upgraded him. And so I think he'll get in there. How many minutes he plays, I don't know. Do they just roll? Like you said, like when you're trying to guess these minutes with like Portland, you didn't. You rational coaching led you to believe that Malcolm Brogdon was a bad play like 4 times in a row, and like how many times does it take till you like throw in the towel and be like, okay,
they just want to break him.
They're going to play this guy. So I think it could be the same thing with Simons tonight. He could be a full go. And if that's the case, then he would be the guy that I would want to play. And so I think he's super cheap. So let's take a shot on it. They're probably going to get blown out. I don't know how. I confess I don't know. I know he's from Australia. I watched him a little bit in college, but I think he's extremely raw. Duop. Electric name though, so and wreath around Christmas time a little bit, could be a sign. But this game could go small, like I said before, because Golden State's always looking to go small and let Draymond run center. So if that's the case, Wreath will be the guy out. Jabari Walker might play a bunch in that situation. But it's tough. It's tough because of blowout concerns. It's tough because of the sign. I think it's Simons, and I guess if we need the Duop value, sure. But man, I want to fade that.
Chop, anything you want to add here? We should mention the Denver Clipper game. No?
Yeah, I mean, just that the Portland will be the most highly owned team of the night. I'll be underweight on them.
All right. Crunch Time is jumping in here shortly, but I do want to acknowledge the existence of Joker. Jokic taking on the Clippers. 228 is the total. They are 1-point dogs here. Probably the back half of the ESPN doubleheader. I didn't check the schedule, but to me that makes sense. That's got to be it. Not Golden State, Portland's. But I don't make the schedule. As far as Denver, the health-wise, we don't know just yet if Jamal Murray's going to play. He's got that ankle. He came back for a cameo appearance and got hurt again. Gordon is expected to be good to go with his heel. He's probable. Clippers about as healthy as we've seen them. Only the Plum Dog, the millionaire. No Mason Plumlee. Chop, Denver, Clippers, Joker's awesome. Do you like Joker or Embiid? It sounds like you're probably not playing either if I'm hearing you.
No, Embiid for sure. No, I'll use Dewey Wreath a couple times to be able to play Embiid. Okay. Yeah, but it's definitely Embiid for me between those two guys. Embiid would be my favorite spin up on the night. This game right here, it's a good game. Like it could be a good fantasy game too. It's two good teams going at it. You never know. And late night hammer, and you get all that good stuff. High projections all the way around the board, but they're appropriately priced. I can hang out in the mid range if I need to in this game, but other than that, it doesn't jump off to me, so won't have a lot.
Some good PVT.
Yeah. There you go.
With the Joker.
I forgot these teams don't like each other at all. A lot of playoff stuff going on here between these two.
Yeah. By the way, did we get to 1,000 likes? If we got to 1,000 likes, I get access to the secret chat that Kirkwood and Chopper and everybody else hangs out in. I'm just not cool enough, I suppose, to get an invite. Are we at 1,000 just yet, Devin? I know earlier we took a peek. We weren't quite there just yet.
No, we just fell just under 950 short.
Want to be in there too, man.
Let me give it a like here. Let me pump up the numbers here.
Call your mom.
Everybody else hanging out, if they don't mind.
Get them to like it.
I mean, I'm showing. Yeah.
We got to get like Roth to tweet it out. Get everybody to tweet it out. We got to get to 1,000 likes, and all of a sudden I get access. This is going to backfire and blow up in your face, Chopper. We can make this work if you just incentivize the likes in some way outside of just like, hey, be kind, hit the like button if you don't mind. Somebody's dog's going. I hear some dogs barking. Hey, it's Roth. It's Taylor. It's Keith. What's up, y'all? Roth, how are things? Everything going well for you?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Did you what we mentioned it earlier? Did you watch the Luka game where they won a 30-0 run the other night? And they still lost. And
no,
he put 95 DK points. It was completely insane. But I was thinking of you because he triple dubbed.
No, I completely missed that entire thing. I've just been in like child, hell for the last few days, so I haven't watched any hoops, sadly. Yeah.
Any update on the lights?
Yeah, no, I hired a guy. They look amazing, and the power has stayed on since the first day when we lost all the stuff. So we're good.
Okay. Can I get a quick child? Can we get a quick summary of the child hell you said? Because I'm scared.
It's just 2 is too many. It's just one is survivable, and 2 is a lot. That's all.
Noted.
They're great. It's fine. They're wonderful. They're beautiful. It's fine. I'm fine. I'm losing my mind. I'm dying.
And do we ever get confirmation? Do you tip a light guy? Do you tip the light guy?
No, absolutely not. You don't tip the light guy. It's not like a big company. It's just a dude who comes out and puts the lights up. You don't tip the dude you tip the light guy? No.
I don't know. I've never had a light guy. I was just curious. Hey, Keith, Chop's got taken up some umbrage as well as as well as Kirkwood. And then by association, I don't think you did projections today. You feel free to speak on it. But Chris Dunn has 0 minutes currently projected, and Chop's very angry about this.
I was not angry. No. I'm just being. Listen, first, Keith, I would like to say, first of all, the RG projections on these sports are incredible. We had some of the best college football projections this year. Some of the other sites have more recognition. RG was great. I've been following the RG NFL projections. I don't want to say they're better than the Blitz. If Carter's around, is he here? I don't see him, but they're very good. They're very comparable to the Blitz.
Oh, that's why you've been in there asking for the optimals after the slate.
I wanted to test it out. Anyway, so we got that going on, and the NBA has been great. The NBA projections are as good as any service out there. I'll tell you that first. I track all this stuff, and so yeah, I don't know. Kirk just brought it up, and I didn't even realize he was projected for 0 minutes. Can we get a little summary of why that's happening?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, appreciate the kind words. It's a lot of work goes into that awesome team that we have. So appreciate the recognition there. So I was in Slack talking to the guys before I jumped on here, and I think it's 50-50 whether he plays or not. If he does not start, I would be very concerned that he's not going to see the floor at all. There is a chance this situation last time he started and he only played 19 minutes out of the starter's role. So I still think the minutes upside on him is very, very limited. The matchup does kind of call for some additional perimeter defense with Luka out there. So I could see Utah starting Chris Dunn and him playing 18 to 20 minutes. But I would be very hesitant to project any more than that. And I would be hesitant to use him at all if he's not starting.
Fair enough.
Tari Houston officially available, by the way, for Houston. I know, Kirk, what you were talking about, liking Smith to some degree. Give me a player that's gonna break the slate here, Chop. You got to see it and raise a Kirkwood. We have to step aside and make way for crunch time, for Roth, for Taylor, for Keith. But Chop, set the bar here. Who's breaking the slate?
My slate breaker tonight, I'm going to go with. I said it in the survey, so I'm gonna stick with Jaren Jackson.
No, I love that one.
Yeah, Chalk City.
I'm gonna say another chalk one. I'll go with Joel Embiid, but I'll throw another one in there. I'll throw Terry Rozier.
I will give you a run back for Terry Rozier, Nikola Vukovic. There you go. And I really, really like that game if Williams does not play. I think a Charlotte-Chicago game stack looks like a lot of fun. For Chop, for Kirkwood, for me, hit that like button. We got to get to 1,000. I got to get in that secret chat. We do appreciate y'all watching the first portion. Now it's crunch time. Fanduel sponsor crunch time. You got Taylor, you got Keith, you got Roth. Roth, take it away.
Let's do it. Welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. This is indeed crunch time, sponsored by Fanduel, joined by two of the sharpest minds in the biz. We got Keith, the Iceman, Eyster in the house. What up, Ice?
Not too much. We finally have a DFS slate. The in-season tournament has been absolutely incredible, but 2-game slates in the NBA are not ideal for DFS. So
yeah,
we have done the shows the last 2 nights as well, but
yeah,
we finally have some options to work with here.
Very nice. Well, looking forward to it. I'm getting some entries in. I haven't been messing with the 2-game slates. I don't know. It just doesn't quite do it for me. So I'm excited to get back in the streets here with some DFS action. Joined by Taylor as well. What up, Taylor?
Not much. Has kind of felt like an all-stick a little bit over the last few days, but 0 to 100 right away with 11 tonight. So looking forward to getting into it.
Okay, I love it. Well, I'm curious where we start, where things go. So with the cash build, I assume you want to lead us off here, Taylor?
Yeah, we've got some news earlier. We got Anthony Edwards was questionable. He is in. Just got Tari Eason ruled in as well, like Dean said. The only news we're waiting on is Jordan Poole. That game starts right at 7 Eastern, so we should get that pretty soon, I would think. Jamal Murray questionable for Denver. Mark Williams as well for Charlotte is questionable. That's a big one. That game starts an hour after lock. He just got ruled out, actually. So good timing on that one.
Who was that just got ruled out?
Mark Williams, the Charlotte starting center. So they'll change their lineup to reflect that. And Anthony Simons is questionable. We're expecting him to play. He practiced yesterday, so he should be good to go.
Where does the Williams being out rank? Is there someone who immediately pops into mind as, okay, now this is a dude who is either viable or maybe even a legitimate core option?
Yeah, Nick Richards is the backup. We have him at 14 minutes as the backup, but if he starts, he's going to become maybe the best value center on the slate, which kind of means a lot because we also have a decent couple of other options as well at the position. But I think Richards, if he starts, is probably going to be the guy.
Okay, so that will be better than playing Darth Maul or Dua Lipa
Yeah.
or whatever the hell that guy's name is.
Dua Lipa. He's kind of been chalky all day, but not sure we need him anymore. And then there's Miami starting center Orlando Robinson as well.
Very nice. Okay,
He's
interesting.
kind of more of a tournament guy.
Great. Okay, well let's just jump into a cash build on FanDuel. I mentioned this show is sponsored by FanDuel as well. Make sure you're checking out all of their fantastic offerings over there on FanDuel and the FanDuel Sportsbook, which is where you get some of the best deals in the biz. Make sure hang on, I got to find my read. Here you go. Crunch Time presented by FanDuel. Bet $5 on any money line. You get $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. For new users in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Let's dive into a FanDuel cash build, Taylor.
Okay, point guard, I think, kind of looks like a position you can spend money at. The guy popping the most into optimals on FanDuel is Fred VanVleet. His price is always kind of hovering around 8K. 77 tonight. A great matchup against OKC, but he plays like 40 minutes a night. I think he's kind of a staple of your cash build on FanDuel. Keontae George, a guy that we've been playing for a while now. Utah still without 3 regulars, including Jordan Clarkson in the backcourt and Lauri Markkanen. So that opens up a lot of usage for the rest of these guys. He's only 58. That Utah-Dallas game should be high scoring. Both teams are quite poor defensively, so he's not a bad option at 58. Kyrie on the other side of that game, fine. Cheaper than Luka. He's back tonight. Utah, like we said, is an awful defensive team, so I think you can go there as well. Mike Conley, don't love it. Definitely more of a cash guy in the mid-range, but still viable. And then Anthony Simons, if he plays, which we think he will, is decently cheap. Last I looked, we had him at 31 minutes. He's been out like all season, but I believe it was a thumb injury, so minutes shouldn't be too limited there, we think. Shooting guard, the guy popping into most lineups right now is Colin Sexton. Like we said, Utah quite shorthanded. Sexton gets usage off the bench. Minutes are the only concern there. He played 30 in the last game. We kind of have him around 26 off the bench, I believe. But again, great game environment. Should be plenty involved for them. Desmond Bane is a pay-up option, leading Memphis in usage. They're playing Detroit. Great matchup for them. Totally fine with that in all formats as well. Should be quite chalky, but he comes with a high floor and a decent ceiling as well, around 9K. George, you can play at shooting guard. Kyrie, you can play at shooting guard. Ditto for Anthony Simons. Moving to small forward, this is where Noto has his 2 core plays. Jimmy Butler. Miami's still without Hero, still without Bam. Decent spot for them, even in a tough matchup against Toronto. Jimmy should play tons of minutes, lead the team in usage, do a bit of everything. Easy play in all formats, I believe, over there. Martin was in the other. Levine's out for Chicago. They're playing Charlotte, which is a great spot. Should lead the team in usage as well, and he's just not priced up enough for that role at 77. You can also play him you can play Butler at power forward. DeMar DeRozan is small forward only. Bane, you can also play here. Bogdan Bogdanovic, the Hawks-Nets game, has one of the higher totals on the slate. He's kind of a decent mid-range play off the bench for Atlanta. Excuse me. And then Jabari Walker is a TP we can play. Portland without 2 front court guys tonight in Jeremy Grant and likely DeAndre Ayton. He should see decent minutes, and he's reasonably cheap. Even if he's off the bench, I think he's fine. Let's see. Power forward, Butler you can play here. Jaren Jackson, another Memphis guy. Favorable matchup against Detroit. FanDuel scoring system suits him quite well. 3 points for blocks and steals. Still good usage for him. Shooting the ball terribly for some reason, but nice bounce back spot tonight. Draymond is someone you can play. The matchup with Portland is a good one. It's a decent game environment. He doesn't get the most minutes, but he's affordable. Don't mind that for cash. And then Cam Johnson is another guy who can play the other forward spot. Again, the Atlanta-Brooklyn game looks pretty good on paper. Don't mind that at all for cash. I suspect PJ Washington is now a guy who can also play at power forward. Let me just find. He's 61 on Fanduel. Better play on DK, but still solid, especially if he starts. And then center for cash is probably going to be Nick Richards. Dua Lipa, like we said, Dua Breathe, also viable if you want. And then Orlando Robinson was the other cheap one for 45 on FanDuel.
Okay, very good. Ice, I want to get your tournament takes. I just saw this Luka game that Dean was talking about where he went off for like 90 plus fantasy points. This was his first game back since being a dad. So obviously, was that narrative built in? Did we know that going in? Was it discussed?
I don't recall discussion around. I mean, people were definitely saying that, but I don't think he was popular on that slate.
Come on, how can you not? How can you fade a guy his first day being a dad? You got to do it. Okay, I just had to clear that up because that is exactly what I thought would happen. Let's go through a little FanDuel tournament build here. Ice, what do you got?
Yeah, so I think this Charlotte news is pretty huge. I kind of expect PJ Washington to start and Richards still to play off the bench, but he's still going to project really well. And basically, I think he's going to play around 20 minutes, regardless of whether he starts or not. They've been running PJ Washington at the 5 behind Mark Williams anyway. So PJ Washington is still going to get plenty of minutes at the 5. But Nick Richards is definitely very interesting. I think this makes Duop Reith an even better tournament play at this point. Like, people are scared of him, and I'm not. I want to lean into that a little bit. So this is just going to lower his ownership. Like, we only have him projected for 22 minutes. He's a good per minute guy. Like, he should give you a fantasy point per minute at least while he's out there. He does a little bit of everything. So I'm perfectly fine with that as chalk. And I'm going to be over the field now that his ownership should be coming down with the Charlotte news. I'd love that game environment. And I noticed, I think it was PJ in chat said that it was a big boost for Nikola Vucevic. And I completely agree with that. Like, Charlotte is already really weak against big men. Like, Vooch is priced up and nobody's playing him. But I think that this is an awesome spot for Vooch. Charlotte's going to be a little bit chalky. I like some other pieces there in Charlotte. PJ Washington very much in play now. Rozier has an awesome role. So I'm leaning into that game environment a little bit with some lower owned Chicago pieces on the other side. Kobe White has been playing absolutely incredible. So, like, his price, you're going to get some sticker shock if you look at Kobe White's price, but he has been producing without Zach LaVine. So I think he's viable for tournaments. The Philly-Washington game is another game I have a ton of interest in. Embiid is in an awesome spot here against Washington, who's 29th in defensive rating. They really struggle against big men. So if this game stays remotely close, I love Embiid to absolutely smash tonight. Memphis is in a good spot against Detroit. They are 24th in defensive rating, and they've been playing fast as well, which people may not realize. 7th in pace in the NBA is Detroit. So awesome spot for Memphis. The Utah-Dallas game, I have a lot of interest in as well. Utah has some cheap pieces that we can take some shots on. Keontae George, probably my favorite there. Colin Sexton, very much in play as well. Dallas plays fast, not very good on defense. So cheap Utah pieces. It's a little bit hard to figure out the rotation, I would say, as evidenced by the Chris Dunn conversation to lead off the show, who I believe we are adding. So feel free to do, and I'll say it this way. Like, if Chris Dunn starts, you can expect probably 18 to 20 minutes. If he does not start, I would be very concerned that he even gets on the floor. So he's really cheap. And if he's starting, I'm going to be tempted to play him just in the event that he maybe does run into the low 20s for minutes. Good matchup. They might need his defense in this spot. So I don't think adding a couple of minutes to Chris Dunn and building with him, but like, you need to have a plan to pivot if he's not in the starting lineup, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then the Portland value, I'm really interested in as well. I mentioned Reith off the top. I love Jabari Walker, as well as guys who just should play a ton of minutes and are pretty decent producers. And Anthony Simons, I want to be well over the field on. First game back. He's only played one game this season, I believe. But we have seen this dude just absolutely chuck in years past when guys like Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum have been out. Like Simons he took over the team. So I know Brogdon is there now, but it would not surprise me as we get deeper into the season here if Simons' usage starts going way, way up.
Gotcha.
That's about all I got for teams. We can do a little position by position here real quick before.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yep. All right. So at point guard, let's see. I just mentioned Simons, probably my favorite guy to go overweight on here. I love the spot for Philly as well. So Tyrese Maxey, definitely a guy I want some exposure to. I don't mind the price on Kyrie. I wish he was a little bit lower owned. It's a great matchup against Utah, but I certainly think that you can take some shots there. James Harden is a guy whose role has been growing, so I think I want some exposure there as well. Not a great matchup against Denver, but price probably still a little bit too cheap for where his role has been since Westbrook moved to the bench. Shooting guards, Keontae George is somebody I'm playing a lot of. I love this Utah-Dallas game. Let's see here. Anthony Edwards has been questionable all day. I don't think he's going to be very popular tonight. It's an awesome matchup against San Antonio. It's potentially a blowout, but if San Antonio can stay in this game, love the upside for Anthony Edwards. Terry Rozier, another guy, he's a little bit overpriced. It appears like just as he grades out, but the role is so good for this guy. The Bulls give up a lot of 3-pointers as well, so I do want some exposure to Terry Rozier. Moving on to some forwards here. You can play Edwards at the small forward position as well. Jabari Walker, a cheap guy, I will be well over the field on. Both Bogdanoviches are really interesting as well. Bogdan has a better role with Jalen Johnson out, and Bojan has only played one game this season, but played 27 minutes in his first game, played off the bench. But if you're looking for a Memphis run back, Bojan would probably be my favorite there. I think Miles Bridges is a little bit interesting now with Mark Williams off the floor. He could get a boost in rebounding, and the minute ceiling on him is enormous. He's been running out there for upper 30s minutes. If you're looking to save a little bit of money, a guy like Matisse Thybulle, particularly here on FanDuel, where he can rack up the stocks, is extremely interesting to me. We could see him play into the 30s in minutes, and that would not surprise me. Again, just leaning into that uncertainty of the Portland rotation, something I want to target here for tournaments. Fontecchio for Utah, kind of a guy in the same mold who could just run out there for a bunch of minutes. Let's see here. I think that's good for forwards. Just make sure I didn't miss any that are power forward eligible. Also, Avdia I think is okay. Pascal Siakam, definitely somebody I want some exposure to. No Bam Adebayo for Miami. I think this is a great matchup for Pascal Siakam. And then some centers here. I'm going way over the field on Duop Reith. We'll see where the ownership comes in on the Charlotte guys. I think Nick Richards is going to project extremely well, and he's a great play as well. I'd probably just look to get overweight on both of those guys. You throw Orlando Robinson into the mix, and spending up for center is going to be extremely rare on this site. So don't forget Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic are on this slate also.
Nice. On DK, is this a 2-center build for you? Or are you going with the 2 cheap guys on DK and going straight stars and scrubs?
I will have at least one of the cheap centers in every lineup, yes, but I want to be significantly over the field on Joel Embiid today.
Okay.
Just forwarding a comment from Discord Chinatown reminding us that there are 2 Bogdanoviches. So might want to make a note of that when we go forward.
Yes, and for questions, if you can do Pistons Bogdanovich or Hawks Bogdanovich, because they're both B Bogdanovich, their names are extremely similar.
Yeah, that would be helpful. All right, thanks, guys. Let's kick it over to DraftKings here. Taylor, why don't you walk us through a cash build on DK?
Yeah, we got a couple of news items. Jordan Poole in and starting, so don't have to worry about a bunch of terrible Wizards value, thankfully. And then Bojan, Pistons Bogdanovich is starting over Jaden Ivey, so he looks even better, assuming the minutes come up a little bit there. Especially on DK, he's only 51. I think he's cash viable as well. But as a full build, I think the best way to go on DK and cash is to punt both center spots, play util, and obviously your regular center spot with Nick Richards now popping in projections, of course, without Mark Williams and Duop Reith being the other one. That really opens up pretty much anything else you want to do. Most importantly, it opens up Luka. as a gettable, expensive guy, 11-7 on DK. Great matchup against Utah. He's Luka. Kyrie back tonight, so that's a little ding to him, but still happy to pay up for him in cash, especially. Great spot. Anthony Simons is the guy that we like over here as well, 5,500, like Keith was saying. He should be hoisting for this team. No Dame, no CJ, obviously. Not too concerned about the minutes in his first game back. The price is just too cheap. Like, he should be probably 7K in his normal role. He's only 55 tonight. So I think you just kind of play him and embrace the uncertainty there with the minutes in cash. Terry Rozier, another guy that Keith mentioned over on Fanduel. He's 81 on DK. He's getting more usage with LaMelo out. The Bulls are not a very good defensive team. This whole game looks really good, especially on DK. It's very easy to stack them all. Salaries across the board seem a little too cheap for all these guys. Rozier is certainly cash viable. Same with Fred VanVleet for the same reasons I mentioned on FanDuel. Tyrese Maxey is fine if you want to pay down a little bit from Luka. He's 94 on DK. Great matchup against Washington, although I do have some blowout concerns there, but at least Philly should be on the right side of that. Shooting guard again, Simons you can play, Rozier you can play, Hawks Bogdanovic, viable over here, shooting guard, small forward. Brandon Miller's another one, getting pretty good usage with LaMelo out for the Hornets. 5,700. You can play him at shooting guard or small forward as well. Should start, I think. He's been starting of late. James Harden is viable in cash if you go with kind of more of a balanced build and don't play Luka or one of the super expensive guys. Matchup against Denver's not great, but Denver's defense has kind of tailed off a little bit so far this season, and Harden's role has improved as the season has progressed. The one cheap wizard kind of on my radar is Koulibaly, but not remotely necessary in cash, but he is playable if you find yourself shopping in that range. Let's see, small forward, DeMar DeRozan again over here looks quite good. He's also 8,000 flat, so he's popping into most lineups as well. Both, I think Bojan Bogdanovic is power forward only for some reason. So Bogdan again over here, Brandon Miller again over here, Koulibaly. I think you just play DeRozan at your small forward and move on. Honestly, there's really not much else to love. Power forward is now PJ Washington, standing out as the top guy here. He's only 5,400. Could start with Mark Williams out. He's played quite well of late, and the minutes should be there even if he's off the bench. They're just kind of shorthanded in general tonight. Jaren Jackson looks quite good. Always gets used to this team with John Morant still suspended. Jabari Walker is another cheap guy for Portland. We mentioned before, even off the bench, should be fine. Even if they get blown out, I think Jabari Walker and Duop Reith should be semi-blowout proof. They're young guys. Portland's tanking. They kind of have to see what they have in some of them. So I'm not really scared of playing either of them in cash. I think you can certainly play them together if you're so inclined as well. Boyan over here at power forward looks good. Sadiq Bey, another power forward only option, starting in place of Jalen Johnson for Atlanta. Kawhi Leonard kind of as a last piece, if you have money to spend, looks decent as well for 81. And then center, like I said, is Richards and Duop Reith. That's really it. I mean, you can pay for Embiid, but I think the value is so good that in cash, you just punt both center spots.
Okay. And do you think you punt both center spots as in like util and center? You're playing those two cheap guys, like that's the cash build?
Yeah, I think that's what makes the most sense.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I thought I was being cool and creative with that, but apparently being chalky as usual. All right, Ice, let's talk tournament build on DK. I love my build with the two cheap centers, and everybody else looks fantastic. What say you? What are you doing here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely going to be the popular way to construct a lineup tonight. That's why I want to be well over the field on Joel Embiid, like paying up at one of those spots. Embiid is my favorite. Vucevic is also a guy that nobody is playing, who I think is just in an incredible spot. So I want to get overweight on both of those two guys. I still am going to play as much as I need of Nick Richards and Duop Reith. I feel very comfortable. They're both strong value plays. but definitely making sure I get over the field on some of the other centers as well. So yeah, that does put basically every lineup I'm building as a 2-center build for sure.
Interesting. Okay. Do you want to run through positionally on DK, or is it kind of the same names that you mentioned on FanDuel and you don't feel it's necessary?
But I can go through the ones I'm highlighting over here. Colin Sexton definitely. Yeah, Sexton definitely a guy at point guard. Want to be well over the field on him. He could be their primary scorer tonight. James Harden, another guy who I just don't think is being played enough given his role. Kobe White feels overpriced, but I think he could have a monster game here. Awesome matchup against Charlotte. And then Keontae George, with Utah being shorthanded, he's going to play a bunch of minutes. We'll see what the usage looks like between guys like him and Sexton, but just leaning into that uncertainty with Utah, I think is a very good strategy in tournaments. Anthony Edwards, again, a guy that nobody is playing over at the shooting guard position, had the Q tag all day. Certainly has incredible ceiling if this game can stay close. It's a great matchup against the Spurs. Desmond Bane was a guy who was getting a little bit of ownership early in the day, but now looks to be quite low owned. So I love him as a tournament play. Fantastic matchup against Detroit. We know he has quite a bit of ceiling here. I believe he has small forward eligibility as well. I lost him. Yeah, he's eligible at small forward as well. Some other small forwards. I mentioned Tybull on FanDuel. I don't like him quite as much on DK, but if you need like a punt that's not a center, I think Tybull is in play. If you're looking for a direct pivot off of Jabari Walker, I think Tari Eason is a very interesting tournament play. He's probably not going to play more than 20 minutes, but he's a big per minute guy, does a little bit of everything. Definitely don't mind him. Patrick Williams, the Bulls in a fantastic spot. His minutes have been much better here recently. I think Denny Avdia is in play a little bit. Let me see. Jimmy Butler is overpriced. It's a fantastic matchup. Miami is really shorthanded without Bam there. Jimmy could see quite a bit of usage, so don't mind paying up for him if you want to go that route. A couple of power forwards, Sadiq Bey, somebody we haven't mentioned yet. I think that he is a very interesting option. Johnson is out for Atlanta, and Bey's been seeing really solid minutes, so don't mind him in the mid range. Cameron Johnson is okay if you can get up to the 6K range. Then I kind of talked about it already. Both the value plays, Richards and Reith, are incredible options. Joel Embiid, if you're spending up, is an incredible option. And then Vucevic is kind of the guy that absolutely no one is playing that I have a good amount of tonight. I think Şengün is kind of in that same mold, just as a guy who can find ceiling in any matchup. Oklahoma City has not been great against bigs, so it's a better spot than maybe people realize. OKC's been good on the defensive end, but if they have a weakness, it's the interior. So Şengün is quite a good option. And then the Hawks guys, Capella and Okongwu, I think they would be very much in play on another slate, but because we have such great value at center, even I'm struggling to get to them, but I do like both of them tonight. They've both been getting a few extra minutes with Johnson out as well.
Excellent. Okay, did just get news here. Our guy at Tasteful Tides in the chat says Grant Williams is out, and I was curious if this matters or maybe only if you're stacking up that game. What do you think?
I think it does matter for Derrick Jones Jr. He's been playing really solid minutes anyway. I think he's going to play over 30 minutes in this spot now. He's been okay. Obviously, there's not going to be a ton of usage for him with Luka and Kyrie on the floor this time. Like he's been good recently, but either Luka or Kyrie has been out for the last couple of games. But gotcha. I do think it's a nice bump for DJJ.
Okay, good stuff. Guys, we've got about 10 minutes or so until lock. Taylor, is there anything that you want to throw in and add here before we dive into some QQs?
Yeah, I said Bojan Bogdanovic was power forward only on DK, is actually shooting guard only. So I just wanted to clear that up. And Derrick Jones is like 5K on both sites, so that's a little pricey for him. Not a great per minute guy historically, so don't think he quite makes the cash build on either site.
Got you. Very good. Let's see what we got. Scrolling up just a little bit. If you're not joining us in the RG Discord, you should be. It's where the cool kids hang out, and it's where I take questions from first. So let's just scroll up a little bit here. All right, we'll go to Gamble. If Washington is starting, do you prefer him or John Collins on FanDuel? think it's Washington, but Taylor, you can answer that one.
Yeah, I think it's Washington. Let me check on Collins. I thought he was quite pricey. No, he's only 62. Both are fine, though I'd lean PJ in that scenario.
Great. Chinatown, DK Cash, the price difference being irrelevant here, just your better straight-up cash option, Joker or Embiid. I mean, Embiid's got that matchup, but also like the likely blowout. I don't know, Taylor, in cash, which one do you feel better with?
That's super tough. I just think you would play Jokic if you have the money, just because he's Jokic and like his floor is 60. So yeah, I would just do that if you can.
Okay. BK says anything open up with Grant Williams? We addressed that already, so not really is the answer. Another DK Cash question, Taylor. I'm coming right back to you. Does the matchup versus the Bulls give any pause for cash?
No, it's not a super high total game. It's like around 220, but the prices on Charlotte are so good that it's really hard to avoid Richards for 37 and PJ for 54 in particular. And I think you can make an argument for Rozier and Brendan Miller and maybe Miles Bridges if you have the money. Like all of them look pretty good.
Okay, very good. We'll go to Gamble's question here. And Ice, I will bring you into the mix. This is on FanDuel. You want Orlando Robinson or Dua Lipa Reef?
Did we get a Miami starting lineup yet? First of all, need to confirm that Robinson is starting. My initial lean is to Reith, just because it's a little bit more of an uncertain situation. And we're not waiting on a ton of news, but if it's ever close, I always lean to the later guy.
Okay. That works. Aside says FanDuel Cash. Taylor, you're back here. DeJounte and PJ Washington, parentheses, if starting, or Kyrie and Cam Johnson.
So the Hawks do have a high total. DeJounte's 8K flat, so I'm fine with the first one.
Okay. Can I play Cam Thomas if he doesn't start? Ice, can we play Cam Thomas if he doesn't start on FanDuel?
I like him better on DraftKings. He just fits the scoring a little bit better, but yes, you can always play Cam Thomas.
Okay. FanDuel GPP, Ice Warriors value pieces that you will be in on as they will blow out the Blazers later. So he's making a prediction. He's saying this is how it's going to go. You buying into that?
I do think Golden State has a great chance to blow them out, but there's no value on Golden State. Like all of their guys are priced up. Like Kuminga is 5K, Podziemski is 5K. Like there's not a lot of value there. Like you're chasing maybe them getting 6-8 extra minutes in a blowout, and I don't think they can still get there at those prices.
Okay, great answer. Yep, that's me. He says, are we playing Anthony Simons in cash? He says he was mentioned. We did mention him. Are we there in cash? I think this was a FanDuel question, Taylor.
FanDuel not quite as appealing. Okay. He's 63 over there. You can. He's still underpriced relative to where he would normally be, but much more of a priority on DK.
Okay, so on DK cash, that works for you?
No doubt.
Okay, great. FanDuel single entry, your favorite stud or studs? Ice, FanDuel single entry. You love the center spend up on DK, but that's because you can balance it with a cheapie. Are you going expensive center on FanDuel as well?
It is more difficult on FanDuel, but I still would do that, at least in some way. I mean, if you're only making one lineup, it's a really tough call. But yeah, I still like that as a way to completely like change roster construction.
Okay, and then which big? I mean, you said look, Joker and Embiid are amazing. Do you have a preference or no? Not really.
Yeah, Embiid is my preference tonight.
Nice, I approve. What else do we got here? The John Tom, DK, GBP, Ice, Van Vliet, or Rozier? They're pretty close in the RG value.
Rozier for me.
Okay. This is, what is this, a 3v3 coming your way. FanDuel cash. Taylor, you want Brogdon, Sexton, Bane, or Dinwiddie, Edwards, and Keontae George?
I'd go the second one just because Brogdon is a little pricey with Simons back, likely back.
Nice answer. Okay. Chinatown says, is Detroit Bogdanovich too risky in cash, Taylor, since he's only played one game?
No, he played 27 minutes in that game. So in theory, he could play around 30 again tonight, and he's cheap on DK in particular.
Nice. All right. Jumping into the YouTube chat. Hey, hit us with a little thumbs up. That's free content, answering your questions. Make sure you hit us with a little thumbs up. We're trying to drive that engagement to keep the show free for you. We need the eyeballs. Noel Huffman says Hayes or Jones in a tournament. Hayes or Jones. Those are names that I don't think we mentioned, Ice.
Killian Hayes and Derek Jones, I'm assuming. I'm not on Hayes at all with Bojan back. If it's Derek Jones, it's definitely Jones.
Okay. Rukin Verde says, what are your thoughts on Trendon Watford? He's a crazy point per minute guy and has gotten some decent minutes recently, both blowout and non-blowout games. Ice, did you land on any Trendon Watford?
I did not. Brooklyn's getting healthier. I don't think there's any need for that.
Okay. My guy Butthole Jenkins says, let's see, Embiid and Rose. And Taylor, I'll give this to you. Embiid, Rose, or Trae Young and Draymond?
Embiid, Rose, Trae Young, Draymond. I would go Trae Young, Draymond, but both fine.
Okay. Marcus says, hey, I joined late. We got 2 minutes until lock. I'm looking for a solid core in a DK GPP. Ice, you want to give him like 3 players that you think should be in there?
Yes, Anthony Simons is definitely a guy I would have a bunch of. Both of the cheap centers, Nick Richards and Duop Reith, I would try to get plenty of exposure to. And then off the board, Joel Embiid would be my favorite guy to pivot to. Desmond Bane, another one I really like.
Great stuff. All right. As I mentioned, we're quickly coming up on lock. Jay West back in the RotoGrinders Discord says, this is Fanduel. Taylor, you want Keontae George and Triple J or Bane and Washington?
Again, that's super close. I think I prefer the Triple J side, though, slightly.
Does Triple J ever get there? Have you ever played Triple J and been like, oh, yeah, that's what I was hoping for? Has it ever happened?
He gets there, just not on chalk nights. When he's owned, he doesn't get there. It's when he's 5% that he goes off.
That's probably my issue. Steve-O says, DK GPP. Ice, what are your thoughts on Vince Williams? He's been playing a bunch of minutes lately. Who are these people?
Grizzlies.
Yeah, Memphis point guard has been getting a little bit more run with Marcus Smart out. And, I mean, Derrick Rose is who he's competing with for minutes. So there are crazier things. I don't hate it.
Okay. All right. About a minute here until lock. A few more questions. Ron, I'm just kind of picking them out here from the YouTube now. Ron says, can you play Kobe White and DeRozan in a DK GPP? Ice?
Probably a little too much salary for both of them to get there.
K-Town's Finest says, is there enough value to do an Embiid Joker lineup on DK? Oh, baby, I like
the problem is all the values at center. So
that's exactly
really
what I was
hard to make.
Yep.
Yeah. Tankenstein, making you work for this one here, Taylor. DK forward, 4,700 or cheaper. Got anything in that range that jumps out?
Jabari Walker was the one that came to mind first. Let's see if there's anything else. No, maybe Tumani Kamara. He should start and play around 30 minutes for Portland as well. But in cash, I think Jabari is probably a better play.
Okay. FanDuel, Ice, Mikal Bridges, Bane, or Rozier. So Bridges and Bane, or Rozier and Kyrie.
First one.
Okay, great. Jumping into the Discord. Simon Jamel, last piece, FanDuel GPP Ice. Simons is your boy.
Yeah, love Simons. Too cheap.
Yep. We're still not quite to lock, but we're getting there. Bogdanovich, Bojan, or PJ, parentheses, I'm using Richards.
Cash? I'd still lean PJ probably in cash.
Okay. With that, we have hit the lock. An important announcement. If you guys haven't checked out our Sims Lab product, you should do that now, because right now it's in beta, and the beta is going really well. Everyone is thrilled, which means that soon it will not be in beta. And what that means for you is that right now it's free, and soon it will not be free. So make sure you are checking out our Sims Lab. You can get FanDuel and DraftKings NFL lineups. You got the Thursday showdown. This is our last chance, your last chance to use it in beta for free before it moves behind the paywall. So if you haven't done it, you absolutely should. Trust me on this. It is one of the coolest products that I've seen from RotoGrinders since like they launched the whole weather thing. You know, that's slightly cooler, but I'll tell you what, it is some very cool stuff. It's right there. It's super easy to do. I highly recommend you check it out. And we put the link there in the chat. So make sure you're doing that. Yellow Flash says, hey, Jetty Osman is starting. Is he playable? Taylor, is he playable?
DK is 43. That's a little high, I think, for me. I don't really think you need it. I think there's enough other better value out there.
Okay. And then Dean mentioning that Vassell is starting for Sohan. Ice, do we care other than like maybe don't play Sohan?
It's a really difficult matchup for the Spurs. Vassell is 6,400 on draft. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. With that, we're going to bounce on out of here. So for Taylor, for Ice, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. Is tomorrow at a weird time tomorrow?
Yeah. The slate locks at 2 p.m.
We will catch you at
5 Eastern.
We are going to catch you at a awkwardly early time. So make sure you're hanging out with us if you can. We appreciate you. We love you. We will catch you tomorrow. You have been